What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Lunchtime with the Clydesdale. We got Trent Olive in the house. What's going on? Yeah, we're back for another day. It has been like a slow news week, man. Amanda, it's my Friday. Man, I wish it was mine too. Jess, what's going on? Miss you, sister. Miss you. I'll tell you what, this girl, Jess, Rosie View Photography, had some of the greatest talks, like at events. She went with me for 1 year. We hung out. We late night table talks. We probably upset Jamie and Cheryl in the house. But man, we had some good talks. And all the stuff you're not supposed to talk about. All the stuff you're not supposed to talk about at a table, we did, and they were just really good talks. Denise's Friday too, man. You guys. CK Kevin. Oh my God, yes, I love those. Yeah, they were great. We were like the two night owls. Everybody else was in bed. So Vickie. So proud dad moment. My daughter, I tell you how cool she is. I tell you how cool she is all the time. And I'm a proud dad. So I'm going to say it again. Last night she went off the grid. She went camping in the mountains for a photo shoot. She was there not to just camp and enjoy herself, but to go out and take pictures of people wearing their apparel while camping. And I can't wait to see what it comes out like. I don't know if I told you guys, like, the coolest thing that happened to me when we were out there. We were driving down the road to go to dinner one night, and my daughter goes, "Oh my gosh, there's my picture." And up on a billboard was a picture that she had taken in an advertisement for her company. So yeah, like, just the coolest stuff. She is like so happy right now. I can't even express how cool that is to have a daughter that just has found her groove and is so happy. As a parent, there's just no better feeling in the world. No better feeling. Chris Beesterfield is in the house. Scott's going to be on Another Realm Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Yes, I am. We just set that up this morning. So I'll be on Chris's podcast October 2nd. Sean in Oregon, breakfast with the Clydesdale. I'll raise my mug to you. So, another little tidbit I wanted to share with you guys. CrossFit Games posted this site or this picture today. I don't know if you guys have seen this. The long shorts at the CrossFit Games. I believe that's Pat Barber, but wearing the long shorts. Can I just say, my legs are so short that every single pair of my shorts are long shorts. I am like 5'10", 5'11", and my legs are like, I look like those sausages at the Milwaukee Brewers games that run around the field that have these long torsos and these itty bitty legs. That's how my body is made up. So I wear short shorts and they look like long shorts. Crazy. Because I had those Rogue board shorts back in the day, and they were all the way down to the tops of my knees. So, so yeah, look at those shorts, man. Neomatics. That's so old school. Austin Maliello. But man, I miss these colors. I miss these Parker, sorry, saw Lucas Parker in the chat. I miss these colors on the field. They were just the best. So easy to find your athlete and root for your athlete. And then the Lucas Parker. There it is. Wearing the old banana hammock. Those are the swimsuits I wore back when I was competitive swimming. It was way before the long shorts in that. Gosh, I can't believe I wore those for like years and felt comfortable in them. I can't even imagine. And we got some Dan Bailey, big old headbands. Those weren't the big headbands. The Rich Froning headbands were there we go. The Holmberg with the big headband. And then the tall socks. Everybody had to have the coolest tall socks. And Chris Spieler's headphones. Yeah. No earbuds back then. No earbuds at all. Vickie, I still wear those wide headbands. I do too. Like I sweat so much. I wear those to just for out of necessity if it's a long workout. So anyway, just thought I'd share that little walk down memory lane. Taking me back to the good old days before my 12 back procedures, when I could wear all that stuff and feel confident and all. So one thing I wanted to talk about is last night I'm sitting at home and I get an alert from ESPN. I'm a big Pirates fan in baseball, and Paul Skenes is the youngest pitcher to finish the season with an ERA lower than 2 since Dwight Gooden in 1985. So we're talking 40, 50 years, right? No, 40 years. 40 years since anybody had done that. He is such a good pitcher. And he gives up less than 2 runs every 9 innings. And the Pirates never win when he pitches because they can't score enough runs to support that. And so it made me think, like, how many athletes are like that, where they're so good, but something fails them to prevent them from winning. And I think about like Laura Horvat. She has been the one athlete that has been able to go toe to toe with Tia Toomey at any event in the CrossFit Games season or Rogue. But she has that one thing. She has that one thing that just prevents her from winning. If that one thing shows up, it's such a bad performance that it takes everything else away. And I was trying to think, are there any other athletes that are so great at everything else, but they just have one thing? One thing. But Joseph, I would argue if she could do strict deficit handstand push-ups, just above average, she could compete for a win against Tia. Because they go back and forth in other events. Tia doesn't win everything. The problem is that she's not so bad at something that there's a big point gap at any point where people can take advantage of that. It just made me think about that. Yeah. Pat Vellner running, swimming, especially swimming. His swimming is so bad. So bad. It seemed a great one. DB and her back squats. DB finished 4th at the CrossFit Games with a dead last finish in the back squats. That's it. Patrick Vellner, you could say the swimming, you could say the first workout, whatever it is. But I think it's even more extreme for like Laura and DB. It just was an interesting thought that came to my head with this, because how frustrating does it have to be for a pitcher that's doing everything in his power to be great, and his team can't score the minimum amount of runs to support him. And as much as I love Paul Skenes, and I try to watch every game that he pitches, part of that's because I know he's probably not going to be here soon, because the frustration is going to grow, and the Pirates are going to trade him to get some draft picks and some prospects, and eventually he's going to be gone, and he's going to do it for another team. I've watched so many good pitchers leave them and go to another team, and then I half root for them because I knew them when. Corey Leonard, Barry Sanders. Yeah. I mean, Barry Sanders did make the playoffs a couple years. And he had a good team, but not a great team. So anyway, it's just a thought I had. So I thought I'd talk about that just for a brief moment, and see how it related to the CrossFit world. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is I was watching The Spin last night, and I know, Jody, you don't know who that is, but it's a show on Wednesday nights. And they were talking about what changes they would make to TYR Wadapalooza. And they were really dogging on the ErgShoot. And I think it could be exciting with a couple tweaks. On the broadcast, we just couldn't see the green or red light. I think that's huge. Without seeing that, it becomes very, very boring. The other thing is just have a dedicated camera on the target so we can see if they hit or not. And just put it in the lower box in the corner. You brought in the big boys to do the production. You probably paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why couldn't they have a dedicated camera on the target to let us know if it hit or not? But the biggest thing they wanted to change, and I think is a huge, huge mistake, is they think that it needs more teams, and their idea was to go away from territories or countries or whatever, or continents. I think that's a huge mistake. I think people are more invested because they're rooting for their region of the world to win. If you go to a European semifinal, what makes it so loud and so crazy is all the athletes are from different countries. And so France is yelling for Victor Hoffa and Claudia Gluck, and you have Iceland rooting for the daughters, and you have the UK rooting for Lucy Campbell. And because of that, it gets more exciting, and the crowd is much, much more into it. If you take that away, I think you take away the passion for wanting your region to win, and that is significant. If you If you just do a draft, there's no connection to a team. Now you're back to just rooting for athletes, and that's what the WFP is. And so I think, like, I'm okay with adding a team or two, I think, but it needs to stay regional. And I think the best way to do that would be like North America, Europe, Oceania. You probably have to go like North America or United States, Canada, Europe. I don't know. And the rest of the world. But I think it just has to be maybe, but the old Rogue Red versus Black was really entertaining to me. Yeah, but Mark, you're probably a geek like me who'll watch anything. I think it's just I think you just have to think outside of our box to bring in more people to watch. And here's my other thing about the other teams that we just have to be careful of. And that is that one of the best things about the event is it's only 2 teams to watch. So it makes it easier to watch. There's no camera missing things going on. It's just 2 teams. The more teams you put on the floor, I don't want it to become what the CrossFit Games teams are, where there's just mass confusion all over the floor with 40 athletes all out there doing whatever they do, and nobody really understands what's going on. And so I think it needs to be kept intimate with people, with other teammates out there cheering, things like that, to make it what it is. Lots of suggestions on what it should be. North America, Europe, Middle East and Africa, Asia and Oceania. Yeah, that would work, except for you don't have South America in there. Not enough high-end talent in those other demos. We'd know beforehand already who was winning the whole thing. I don't know. We talked about this a little bit Sunday night, and we named some decent people. But you're probably right. You don't want to dilute it either. You're right. You don't want to dilute it too much. But there's a big list of people who weren't there this year that would have been interesting to see in the mix. So maybe it's just a 3rd team and not 4. Nobody picked North America to win, and if you say you did, you're a liar. I did not pick North America to win. I was wrong. Just for Ramirez, US, Europe, Canada, Australia to start. And then you're leaving out other people who are good. And you just have to remember that. Like I've said it every year, Guy is awesome at this style of workout. You can love or hate him, and I know there's a lot of people who hate him, but he is really good at this. He has superpowers that other people don't have. His gymnastics are good, and the fact he was able to keep up with Dallin on that power output burpee thing was impressive. I didn't think he was going to hang at all on that. He does. He has superpowers and he has super holes. And it's like a 50-50 proposition. So he kept up with him on the burpees, but had no juice otherwise. He actually kept up with him on the run and the burpees. It was the bike where he lost it all. you can love or hate Gee. Either way, he wants you to buy him a bike. There it is. So, and on the bike, Dallin is one of the best in the world. Flat out. When he hits the go button, no, but not very many people are keeping up with him. Dallin is not a great runner. Gee keeping up with him is not a great feat. I think Dallin is better on an air runner than he is on like the beach or the dry land for sure. Because his weight will push that treadmill faster. I think that actually helps Dallin in this case. So, yeah. But anyway, I just don't, I think that, well, I think like a third team would be interesting. And though, as we're talking it out, I think 3 is probably better than 4. I think you take away the countries, you take away the passion that people would have to root for their region. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that. And the last thing I'm going to say about the spin cast, who is John Young who doesn't know what an appetizer is or doesn't eat appetizers? Like, are you kidding me? I'm not a big appetizer guy, but I know what they are. And my wife and daughter order them all the time. It's just crazy. So, Train Olive, he looks like he eats appetizers. I know. Jess, I love a good appetizer. I know. John Young eats at Mickey D's, no appetizers there. Oh, that's a fact. Yeah, so I found that interesting. So anyway, Mark Phillips just won some Oreos. There you go. Speaking of Oreos, have you seen this new show? It's 99 to Beat, I think it is. It's a whole show where they just do like little games, and the one game is taking a piece of spaghetti, getting like 5 pieces of ziti on the spaghetti and having it all on there. And it starts with 100 people, and the person who finishes last gets booted. So the whole goal is not to win each round. It's just not to finish last. And then the last place person goes home. And then the next thing is there's 1,000 balloons. 99 of them have a lay in them, and you have to pop the balloon and find all the lays. And as long as you're not the last one, you stick around. Last person goes home. It was way more fun to watch than I thought it would be. But I love the premise that it's not about winning the match. It's just don't finish last. So, Vickie, it's on Fox. And that's what it is. It's exactly that. It's mindless, unemotional TV. There's no drama. It's just, now what they do, it looks like, is they do them where they eliminate one person, and then at the end of the show, they do like a team challenge, and then one team goes home, which is rough because it's just like we talked at the top of the show. One person can cost that whole team their place there. And so the one team challenge was you had buckets of water and you had to hold them on your head and pour from bucket to bucket and fill a tube at the end. And the last team to fill a tube, the whole team went home. So it was pretty crazy, but it's the type of TV I have on when I'm doing editing or something of videos, and I don't need to think about the TV show because I'm thinking about what I'm working on in that moment. Vindicate, there's so much dumb shit on TV, I'd rather go for a walk. That's probably the best option, but there are times where I have to like edit videos and do things like that, and I don't want something that I have to pay close attention to. And that's when I throw that stuff on. It sounds like Double Dare. Double Dare's fully team. This is mostly individual, and then at one point it becomes team. But it's kind of messy, and so in that realm, it's kind of like along that line. So, well, I have to blow my nose. So excuse me for one. I think that like I took all these antibiotics for this pneumonia I had, and then I traveled to Montana and back, and then I was more susceptible to everything going on around me, that I caught a stupid summer cold in the process of all of this. But man, I'm just tired. We talked about this yesterday. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again. But man, I'm just tired of my sinuses failing on me. So I did notice one thing. I got to pull this back up because it's still up here, the Chris Spieler picture. Yeah, the headphones are crazy. But did you know the little what was that Apple iPad? Not iPad. iPod. iPod mini, or is that what it was called? Right here, that's on his belt, that had no screen. I was just like, I haven't seen one of those in at least 10 years. So I see iPod Nano. A couple people said. 1% is another one you can put on in the background, Scott, if you haven't seen it. I have seen it. Here's the problem, Vickie. When it comes to trivia, I am very, very competitive. And I've watched the 1%, and I love that it's not straight ahead trivia. It's kind of like tricky trivia. And I have to like pay attention and play along. That's the problem. So iPod Shuffle. That's it. That's it. Vindicate for the win. Vickie just graduated. What'd you graduate with, Vickie? Yeah, shuffle because you couldn't see what the track to play or choose next. That's right. I have an unopened shuffle in neon green, and that's what Chris Spieler had, a neon green shuffle. Oh my goodness, Vickie, a PhD in functional medicine. That is awesome. Awesome. I was with Wild Health for a while, and I really like the approach of functional medicine. I really do. My only problem with Wild Health was like to get an appointment, the wait times were so long because the demand was there, but the supply wasn't. And I hope we can get to a point where we get enough functional doctors to meet the supply of the demand of how many people want that. So I am hoping that you and your cohort, Vickie, are part of that group to move us into the future where we have more options for that. Jess, I never heard of an iPod, just a CD player with headphones. You Wisconsin farm girl. I had the 200 gigabyte iPod. Oh my gosh, that thing was, I took it everywhere. It had movies on it. I used to travel a ton for work. And so it had all of the um, music on it. It had movies on it. So whenever I was traveling, I could do whatever I needed to. Now the movie was on an itty bitty square screen, but on an airplane at that point in time in my life, it was still fine. Vickie, ever heard of regenerative AG? I think, yeah, I'm familiar with what it is, but nothing in depth. iPod is where podcast comes from. Yeah. Initially, you download podcasts onto your iPod and you could listen to podcasts on your iPod. That's it. Yeah. Technology has moved so fast in the last 25 years. It is unreal where we were at and where we are now. Lido, I had a Walkman, then a Discman with stabilization so CDs wouldn't skip, then an MP3 player, then an iPod Touch. An iPod Touch was just an iPhone without cell service. So, yeah, and this CD stabilization thing, yeah, that's a lie. If it's still, you hit a bump in your car, it still skipped. Back in my swimming days, I had a Walkman cassette player that I took everywhere. And one day I was walking down the pool and it came unhooked from my sweatpants band and did like a bounce off the deck and into the pool. And I was like, there we go. That's over. My parents were so pissed at me. CD stabilization and mega bass. Yeah. Yeah. I was a Walkman person all through high school. I took one everywhere I went. But after I lost the really nice Sony one in the pool, everything after that was like off-brand, super cheap. Um, and I just dealt with it. Remember the days of CD players with the corded cassette for your car so you could play the CDs in the car? Yes. Yes. You put the cassette in and somehow the sound went through the wire into the cassette, into the tape player, and on through your speakers. Wasn't there one where we didn't have to flip the cassette? That was high end. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it had a button on it you'd hit and it would just flip to the other side of the cassette and start spinning it in the opposite direction. Man, you guys. My first truck didn't have a radio, so I took my boom box with the removable speakers out of my room and kept it there until I could get a head unit. I ran through a ton of D batteries. Jeez. Yes, Vickie, we are all old. They don't, Jenny. They don't know. They don't know how much we had to work just to listen to some music. I mean, I was a DJ, a wedding DJ during the cassette era. Like that was work. Finding the song on the cassette, setting it up to start right at the right time, putting it in, and then crossfading it over. And you had to do it before the other song was over. It's crazy. The Walkman, the pain of the Walkman chewing your cassette. Oh, that was the worst. All this Walkman talk reveals Scott's demo. Yep. Jess, it was a nightmare. I would bring my cousin along with me, who was much younger than I was, and I made it his job just to find the song. So I could take requests, talk to the people, do the things I needed to do. And his whole job, and I'd pay him like $50, and he would sit there and just find songs all night long. So yeah, fun stuff. The last thing I wanted to talk about today, not to get off the Walkman talk, but the other thing that happened last night on the spin, and it's something I don't understand. And that is that we have this group of people in the fitness space that say that they're professional athletes. We have another group that say you're not professional because of X, Y, and Z. My question is, why does it matter? Why does it matter what we call these people? Like, if you want to call yourself professional, call yourself professional. I was on ESPN one night and there's professional cornhole. If they want to call themselves professional, go to town, buddy. I don't really care. And I know the prize purse for cornhole cannot be anywhere near what the prize purse is for the CrossFit Games. So they want to call themselves professional. It's no skin off of my back. I don't understand the infatuation with calling one thing professional or not. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I'd love if someone has a take on this that makes sense to tell me why everybody is so consumed with this definition. Because it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter to me. I have no qualms with the athletes calling themselves professional. If they earn some prize money, whether it be $3 or $300,000, it doesn't matter to me. They made money doing a sport. Call yourself professional. I am cool with that. Corey Leonard, I saw a professional tag one day on ESPN. I know there's all kinds of crazy stuff out there that they say they're professional with. I agree. I think it started with so many people claiming we need to professionalize the sport. Well, I think that's a different thing. I think that is like in a business sense, and CrossFit is a business. You should do things in a way that are professional. And I think they're actually getting there right now. But for many, many years, they were not. And so I think it's okay to want the organizer of whatever it is you're doing, whether you call it a sport or not, to be professional in setting it up. Now, that is a different connotation of professional than I am a professional athlete. Professional is engaged in a specified activity as one's main paid occupation rather than a pastime. These athletes at the CrossFit Games are not doing this for a pastime. But again, it doesn't matter to me if they want to call themselves professional athletes. And when you say professionalize the sport, that is very different. That is, hey, can we be more organized? Can we set things up for success? Can we be better than we were before? Can we learn from our mistakes? Those things. Maybe the difference between pro and amateur lies in motivation. Pros do X primarily for financial gains. Amateurs balance X and other life obligations. Yeah. Again, it doesn't really matter to me, though, the label itself. I don't think it changes what we do or why the athletes do what they do. And to argue over that just seems to get us nowhere. I get paid to DJ on the side. Am I a professional DJ? I would say so. When I was a wedding DJ, I'd had other jobs. That was just my weekend gig, and I got paid really well to do it. So I would say, yeah, I was a professional. An even more frustrating part of this discussion are people claiming that an athlete isn't professional unless they're on a big salary. Apart from prize money, sponsorship money, what I know, we're getting so far down into the minutia of what this is, and it doesn't even matter. It's just a label. It doesn't change what they're doing on or off the floor and how they're training. Jenny, I'm a professional mom. Oh, wait, I don't get paid for that. You get paid in hugs and love. That's what my daughter would say. Sean in Oregon, labels matter. Young people and children look up to professionals who are amplified by media. Media doesn't pay much attention to amateurs. I agree. But I don't think the label matters. If the media are pumping up these athletes, and then people will look up to those athletes. They want to be what those athletes are, whether we call them professionals or not. We are treating them as such because this media space has gotten so big. Everybody's talking about these people. Our actions are saying more than the words. If we're talking about Tia Toomey and we're talking about Jason Hopper and we're talking about all the way down to Lydia Fish and all those people, we are pumping up these people in a way that makes it that they are who people look up to because of what we're doing. Spin, I am not a role model. Hey, Jenny, are you weirded out when random people come up to you and say hi at events? I saw you there, but was intimidated to go say hi. Jenny is a professional reporter and she professionally reports the news and professionally annoys soft people. I'm professionally amused by her comment section. Jason, not at all. Come say hi anytime. I can vouch for that. I saw Jenny at the games. She was delightful. She was bubbly. She was energetic. Just a delight to meet. And David Reed, they are athletes in a competitive sport, great athletes, but CrossFit is not a professional sport. Vindicate says Jenny gives good hugs. And Vickie says, Corey has been on fire all day. Jody, I barged in on Jenny at the games. She was very receptive. Corey, I love the term delightful. I say the dumbest things. I know I do. I am like the most socially awkward person in the space. So yeah, delightful, jazzed. I was jazzed to meet Jenny. And she was with Judy Reed and her daughter at the time I was there. There were good vibes everywhere. Mark Phillips, according to ChatGPT, a professional sport is one where the athletes make a living from playing, training, or competing, supported by an industry of leagues, sponsors, media, and fans. Well, we definitely have the fans, the media, sponsors, and you kind of have a league. So there you go. Jazz to meet Jenny in the name of my 90s cover band. Oh my gosh, it's a name. Joseph Ramirez, I said something was the tits the other day and no one understood what I meant. That's my life, Joseph. That's my life. I always use the catchphrases from the 1920s and 30s. And nobody knows because I'm jazzed, babe. I'm jazzed. Jody, at least you got their attention. Well, on that note, I'm going to call it, get back to work. And you knuckleheads probably need to get back to work as well. If you're not getting back to work, Coffee Pods and Wods has Will Morad on right freaking now. So head over to Coffee Pods and Wods. Check that out. I'm going to go check that out because I want to see if I'm called, I don't know, whatever he called me last time. Creating stories that they don't like and just making shit up. I didn't make anything up, people. I didn't make anything up. But anyway, I'll go listen to what he has to say this time, and we'll probably talk about it tomorrow. So with that, go check out Coffee Pods and Wods. Yes, that's what smear campaign. Thank you, Mark. I'll go check that out now. So head on over to Coffee Pods and Wods. We'll see everybody tomorrow. See you then.